You need to learn responsibility. 90-day Shekinah Garner from France issues a strong warning to Sarper Guven in a bold new life update. In a disturbing new update, Shekinah Garner from 90-day FIANCES accuses Sarper Guven of being an irresponsible partner following their heated dispute in Season 11. On Season 5 of The Other Way, Shekinah, an esthetician from Los Angeles, fell for Sarper, a Turkish personal trainer. Shekinah expected Sarper to change when he arrived in the United States, and he did. Sarper received consent from Shekinah's daughter and family, but he was dissatisfied with the living circumstances in Shekinah's home and felt homesick. Shekinah and Sarper appeared to split up during the most recent episode of 90-Day Fiancé, when the Turkish man threatened to leave her for not meeting his wants. Shekinah is now firing back. Shekinah recorded herself speaking to admirers on Instagram via 90-Day Fiancé breaking news, saying, "You guys don't know what I've been through with this man in this relationship. You had no idea what waste I took him out of." According to Shekinah, Sarper was living the most toxic, unhealthy life. But now he has a lovely life filled with love, structure, companionship, and true connection. On a warm evening in Istanbul, the skyline looked promising. Shekinah had been arranging Sarper's surprise birthday celebration for several weeks. She arranged a rooftop venue overlooking the Bosphorus, complete with string lights, a custom DJ, and vegan Mediterranean hors d'oeuvres, exactly what she imagined Sarper would enjoy. But Sarper was skeptical. Earlier that day, he discovered a strange text on Shekinah's phone. "Everything is set for tonight. He is going to lose it." Shekinah attempted to snatch the phone back with a joke, but the seed of mistrust was planted. Fast forward to 8 p.m. Shekinah, dressed in a sparkling silver outfit, waited nervously as guests arrived. She'd invited Sarper's pals, her yoga clients, and even a TLC camera team to a special moment. But Sarper was not to be found. At 8:30, he strolled in, handsome, moody, and visibly annoyed. The audience exploded in cheers. Sarper tried to smile, but his gaze fixed on Shekinah's. "We need to talk," he said quietly as the visitors looked on nervously. They walked away into a spot near the balcony. The tension was as heavy as Istanbul's humidity. "I saw the message." "Who is he, Shekinah?" Sarper required. Shekinah rolled her eyes. "Seriously? That was addressed to the event planner, Sarper. He's going to lose it because I got you a custom Turkish delight cake shaped like your abs." Sarper blinked. Just then, the clueless DJ pressed play on the wrong track. A pre-recorded voice note of Shekinah singing a ridiculous birthday song in a baby voice. Everyone froze. Sarper stared. Shekinah's face went red. Guests shared glances. Some attempted to clap, but the awkwardness hung in the air. "I can't believe you embarrassed me like this," Sarper replied, shaking his head. "You know I hate public attention." Shekinah, fighting back tears, said, "I did this because I love you. And since you often tell me I'm not spontaneous enough, so here's your spontaneity." The dramatic thunder in the distance is purely coincidence. Before things could become worse, Sarper's best buddy, Sam, intervened. "Guys, you're both intense. Perhaps take a deep breath, eat some cake, then fight." The audience laughed uncomfortably. Sarper exhaled. He approached the cake, cut a portion, and presented it to Shekinah. "You're crazy," he said. Shekinah grinned with moist eyes. "Takes one to love one." The two embraced, and the DJ, now back on track, played a sweet romantic ballad. Later that night, when the guests danced and the city shone, Sarper said quietly, "No surprises next year. Only you, me, and a kebab." Shekinah nodded. "Deal? But I am still singing." Shekinah thought that love was powerful enough to overcome any obstacle. Sarper knew she was taking a risk by moving to Turkey, but she trusted her heart. Everything felt surreal, from their first video conference to the moment she stepped out of the Istanbul airport and into his arms. But dreams have shadows, and Sarper's strange conduct quickly began to throw a pall over her fairy tale. It began with small things. Sarper would disappear for hours, leaving no reason. He became uneasy whenever Shekinah inquired about his history. He had a lovely smile, but his eyes appeared unfocused. And then there was the room, the one in his apartment with the constantly locked door. "What's in there?" Shekinah inquired one evening, pointing down the corridor. Sarper shrugged and avoided her sight. It's just storage. It's messy. Nothing interesting. But Shekinah's interest was piqued. She had sacrificed everything. Her business, her family, her comfort, to be with him. Didn't she deserve the truth? One night, while Sarper was at the gym, Shekinah tested the door, still locked. But this time, she saw the keys on the kitchen counter. Her heart pounded. She knew it was wrong, but she suspected something was being concealed from her. She unlocks the door. The chamber was dimly lit by the warm amber glow of a salt lamp. The air was thick with incense. But what truly surprised her were the walls, which were covered in framed images, photographs of women. There are plenty of them. Each photo had a brief remark attached underneath it. Names, dates, some affectionate messages. Some are crossed out in red ink. Her stomach twisted. Were they all ex-girlfriends? Clients? Victims? Shekinah heard the door slamming behind her. Sarker was home. I told you not to go in there, he replied, his tone low and frigid. She turned, trembling. What is this, Sarper? Who are these women? Sarper came in slowly and closed the door behind him. They were part of my past, he explained. Each one helped shape who I am today. I never forget a woman who has touched my spirit. That is why I keep this room. To remember. To honor them. To honor them? She spat. You make it sound like a shrine. Or a graveyard. Sarper moved closer. Some folks keep journals. Afraid memories. But I withheld it from you because I knew you wouldn't understand. Shekinah's mind whirled. Was it romantic? Disturbing? A bit of both? I don't want to be just another picture in a locked room, Sarper, muttered her companion. He tenderly touched her cheek. You will not be. I am crafting a new chapter beside you. One that remains open. But Shekinah wasn't certain anymore. Trust, once broken, does not always heal. And as she glanced at the hundreds of eyes staring at her through the walls, she understood that love alone might not be enough to confront whatever Sarper was still hiding. Sarper stood in their modest Istanbul flat, heaving with frustration. The evening light flowed through the windows, forming long shadows on the floor. Shekinah sat on the couch, arms drawn tightly across her chest, and her eyes red from crying. Why can't you just listen for once? She snapped, her voice raspy. I do listen. Sarper shot back. But every time I say something you don't like, suddenly I'm the bad guy? Sarker, this isn't about one thing. It is everything. Control, jealousy, and persistent suspicion. I left my entire life in the United States to be here with you. And now I worry whether I made a mistake. Sarper's expression hardened. His gaze flickered to the engagement band on her finger. He had given it to her barely a month before, as a romantic surprise on the Bosphorus. That moment now seemed like a distant dream. You're the one who said you wanted a strong man, he added quietly. Now you blame me for protecting what we have? Protecting? She mocked, getting up. Saying I can't go without messaging you every hour isn't protection. It's about control, and it is exhausting. There was a prolonged hush. Sarper ran his hand through his hair. Shekinah looked aside, brushing away her tears and attempting to remain composed. We're at the breaking point, aren't we? He said quietly. She didn't respond. Later that night, after hours of solitude, Sarper strolled onto the balcony. The call to prayer sounded from a nearby mosque, and the city lights shone. He reflected on all of the sacrifices Shekinah had made, including quitting her career, family, and entire world. Was he actually offering her something better? Shekinah had packed a tiny suitcase inside, only enough clothing for a few days. She wasn't leaving permanently, at least not yet. But she required room. Her heart felt like it was splitting in two. Sarper intercepted her at the door just as she was about to depart. Where are you going? To a hotel, she answered softly. I need to breathe. You need to think. He appeared to want to argue, but instead he stepped away. Shekinah, don't disappear on me. Please. I won't, she said through sobs. But if we want any chance at a future, we both have to change. And with that, she strolled into the night, leaving the apartment and Sarper behind, if only for a short time. Hello, lovely viewers. Welcome to my channel. I am Amelia, and I hope your day is going well. If you like the video, please remember to subscribe to the channel.